Hello, hello everyone. Good to see you. We are back again Tuesday evening to be with you to answer any questions that you may have. I'm Dr. Arjun Rayapudi, and this is my lovely wife, Dr. Shobha Rayapudi. We're both co-founders of Gift of Health and lifestyle medicine doctors. At Gift of Health, we are helping people to break free from chronic disease, break free from lifestyle diseases such as high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, and break free from medications, reduce dependency on medications, and transform health with better food and lifestyle. And every week we are here with you to answer any questions you may have, and give you the support. And now most of the time when we make a lifestyle change, Shobha, it's not just information, but we notice that we need continued support and the skills to stick to the lifestyle change. And that's why we show up here to be with you and to help you in any way we can. Hi, Mike. Thanks for letting us know that the video is good. And how is the audio? Hi, Maureen. Good evening. Let us know where you are joining from. Give this some thumbs up and likes and love.
Give you a thumb finger.
Yeah, thumbs ups, likes, loves, and the shares. Keep them coming. That's how Facebook will know that we are here, and you're welcome to share this with your friends and family members. Invite them. Let them know that this live Q&A is happening with the doctors, the Gift of Health doctors, and we'll take it from there. Hi, Seema.
Hi,
you're
Seema.
joining from California. Excellent. Good, good. Very good. While you guys are coming with some questions, one question we had was, is the Gift of Health approach, the plant-based diet, is it good for someone who has diabetes or pre-diabetes?
Yeah.
So you might know someone who has diabetes, or you might have had pre-diabetes, or you may be struggling with diabetes. So this is a very, very common condition. Extremely common. Like diabetes is almost like 10% of our population has diabetes. That's like 1 in 10. And the thing is, if you look at the pattern over the last few decades, the diabetes is becoming more and more common in younger people, right? Like previously, maybe 50-year-olds used to develop diabetes. Now we are seeing the adult type of diabetes, like the type 2 diabetes, even in 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds. So
like we are seeing a lot in kids as well.
Yeah. So the most common type of diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, which is the adult onset, it is a lifestyle disease. And the good news is that when you change your diet and switch to more and more plant-based foods, and minimize the intake of processed foods and animal-based foods, it gives you a fair chance, a good chance for your body to break free from diabetes. The key feature in people who develop type 2 diabetes is you have something called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is a condition, is a situation where your body may be making insulin, but you're not able to use the insulin that your body is making. That is because there is excess fat that is built up in the cells and outside the cells. This excess fat, it gets in the way of insulin doing its job. So your body may be making insulin, but it's not able to do its job because of all the fat, that excess fat that you're carrying on your body, or the inflammation that is happening from the animal-based foods and the processed foods. The good news is that when you switch to plant-based foods, which are naturally low in fat, they also decrease inflammation. Your body heals very quickly. In fact, we had like participants in our programs, students, for example, like Jeff, he was on insulin and 3 other medications for diabetes for like several years. Within 3 days of switching to the Gift of Health way of eating, his blood sugars went from close to 20 in Canadian numbers to single digits. Like for the first time, he saw less than the blood sugar was like 7 with just in 3 days of the gift of health way of eating, and he came off of 80% of his medications for diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol within just 3 months. So it's very, very powerful.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to plant-based diet, we think, oh, maybe it has a lot of carbs. Is that something that I can treat my diabetes with? And there is a lot of misconception about carbs, well, like when it comes to diabetes. So we tend to think carbohydrates is the culprit to cause diabetes. But as you can see, like diabetes is mostly caused by insulin resistance. And what brings on insulin resistance is the lipid toxicity or the inflammation that is going on in our body that leads to insulin resistance. And once we start treating insulin resistance, we see that like it's easy to treat diabetes. And sometimes what happens if we don't treat the insulin resistance? So obviously people know that they experience diabetes when you have insulin resistance, but it leads to different things. If the insulin resistance is continuing in our body, it also leads to hypothyroidism. You start to develop thyroid issues, you start to develop kidney issues, kidney problems. So there are a lot of other conditions that happen if the insulin resistance goes on. And especially in females, you also see PCOS. So these are all the things that develop because of insulin resistance. So definitely this is something we would like to address it as soon as we know about it. So it's definitely a good idea to treat insulin resistance rather than just trying to live with it or trying to manage it with drugs.
And in a majority of the cases, the medications that are used for diabetes, they do not address the cause of the problem, because the cause of the problem is mostly it's the poor diet and lifestyle choices. And by taking medication and insulin, your symptoms get better, your numbers may get better a little bit, but if you continue to eat the same foods that are causing the diabetes, then it's like a band-aid solution.
Yeah. So, hi, Janice. Hi, Marilyn. Good to see you. Hi, Maureen. And Heather. Hi. Hi, Laurie. And Paul. So good to see you all. So, Seema is asking, I would like to discuss IBS.
So IBS is the short form for irritable bowel syndrome. It's a very, very common, like irritable bowels. What causes irritable bowels? What causes irritable bowels? Most of the time, there are two things that are showing up to be aggravating or contributing to irritable bowels. One is the diet, then the other one is the stress or anxiety, because these two go hand in hand. Like if your diet is not well, like if your diet consists of like too much processed foods, animal-based foods, and not enough fiber or plant-based foods, then you have a higher propensity to develop irritable bowels. Also, if your stress is like, if you're someone who doesn't have many mechanisms to cope with the stress in healthy ways, there is a direct connection between the brain and gut. The more hyperactive your nervous system is, the more hyperactive your intestines are, because our bowels are they contain like millions and millions of nerve fibers and nerve cells. If you feel stress in the nervous system, that is conducted to your intestines as well. Coming back to the diet, we have had several students in the Gift of Health like community Gift of Health family who have switched to a whole food plant-based way of eating, moved away from the processed foods, even the processed plant foods. There are lots of plant-based foods that are heavily processed, that are made with flour, sugar, and oils. They can promote or aggravate irritable bowels. So it's not just enough to be plant-based, but also make sure that you're getting lots of whole foods that are rich in fiber, phytochemicals, antioxidants, which means lots of vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. You can make all your favorites that you like. You don't have to miss any of your favorite foods by using these ingredients. You can make all your favorite foods, and we have seen people who thought that they had irritable bowels before. Like um, one of our students, like Gwen, she used to say, I thought I used to have irritable bowels, but later when she switched to gift of health way of eating and learned to avoid the processed ingredients, her irritable bowels gotten better. Then her way of she used to say, I used to think that I had irritable bowels, but later I realized that it was eating horrible syndrome, not irritable bowels. Seema is saying my fiber intake is good. Stress is an issue, already plant-based. So if you're already plant-based, make sure you're eating more whole foods, not staying away from the processed foods and the oil-based foods. Regarding like stress, the thing is there are articles on how yoga and meditation can help with irritable bowels. So if you have someone in your community where you can learn some asanas, like some stretches and some pranayama, which are breathing exercises, and meditation. Like if you incorporate these things, then you have more tools in your toolbox to deal with the daily stress that happens as a part of our living. So the more skills you have to cope with stress, the better for your intestines.
Yeah. So when it comes to stress, not many people teach how to manage stress, or like we are not aware. Like on a daily basis, just like how we take external shower to clean our body, it's very important that we also take an internal shower to clean our minds, to get rid of the stress, because on a daily basis we accumulate a lot of stress. And if we have a routine which we can follow, where we can get rid of the stress, or we know how to manage stress, that's a very added bonus. And stress is something that we can definitely learn. It's a learned skill. So just like how you have switched to plant-based eating, so even managing stress is a learned skill which can be learned. So there are many things that we can do to manage stress.
Yeah, and the thing is, when it comes to stress management, you have to find what is like what really works for you to keep the center. For some of you, it may be a hobby, like doing a bit of more exercise, music, dance. All these things will help to some extent, but the for us, the number one has been to be able to recalibrate ourselves. And yoga, meditation, and breathing exercises, they help. They've been a huge help for us to cope with stress. And we do teach the the programs, the programs that will help to manage the stress very effectively. One is called Sky Breath Meditation Program. So if you're in US, you're welcome to look it up, like Art of Living Sky Breath Meditation Program. We do them periodically every 2 to 3 months. We're teaching a class. It's just a weekend program, 3 hours a day for over 3 days. So within 9 hours, you learn skills, very important skills to cope with stress. And they have been a game changer for millions of people across the world. Over 100 million people have learned these techniques across the world to manage stress very effectively.
Mhm.
Any supplements that you can take, Seema? Like if you're eating a whole food plant-based, if you're eating a whole food plant-based way of eating, the only supplement we recommend is taking a B12 supplement. Other than that, we don't recommend any supplements. The best way to get nutrients is eating the foods, like especially when you're eating a 5 to 7 servings of vegetables, 5 to 7 servings of fruits, a couple of servings of greens. You have plenty of serotonin, endorphins, and dopamine, like that is being secreted into your system, that you actually feel good. So the food that you eat, not only works on your body, but it also works on your mind as well.
Yeah. And especially when you're on plant-based diet, make sure like we are eating foods that are rich in fiber. For example, when it comes to grains, make sure you're eating brown rice instead of white rice. And also when you're using lentils and beans, make sure like you're eating lentils and beans uh, with the cover. So like don't remove the top portion of it, because that's where most of the fiber is stored, like when you're cooking your dal. Or try to use whole lentils, whether it's whole mung beans or whole dal. So that's a good way. And even like limit flour based things even when you're on plant based diet, and that will give you adequate nutrients where you do not have to look for supplements. Yeah.
Mike is asking, how do you know
If you
do you
have
have if
diabetes.
yeah, how do you know that whether you have diabetes? So Mike, the thing is, uh, these days, like screening for diabetes has become a part of your routine checkup. So if you are following with your family doctor on a yearly basis, I'm sure they'll be checking your blood sugar levels and your hemoglobin A1C, which is a 3-month average of your blood sugar. That is the best way to know whether you have pre-diabetes or diabetes. So we would suggest, like, make sure that you follow up with your family doctor and know your numbers, like what's your hemoglobin A1C, what's your fasting blood sugar, uh, because by the time you develop symptoms, most of the time it's diabetes can be advanced. Like if you're developing, yes, diabetes can present as like being tired, having excess urination, that you're peeing a lot, or you're losing weight. But these symptoms, if you have developed these symptoms, that means, like, you're letting the symptoms of the diabetes go too far. If you have any of the symptoms, definitely you need the medical doctor's attention right away. But if you want to know whether you have diabetes or not, and if you don't have any symptoms, having blood work is the best way to know. Good, excellent.
Okay.
What else we can answer? Keep them coming. Well, sometimes we get this brief moment of no questions. We'll enjoy the brief moment laughing with you. Good. So here in Buren, Newfoundland, it's 7:52.
Yes, Seema, you can ask another question.
Go ahead. Yeah. So as you're typing your question, like, I was just sharing that our evenings are getting longer. It's almost 8 o'clock now, but there is some sun, which is great. The the evenings are going up to like 9 o'clock, and it's amazing. Like when we wake up at 5:30, sun is already there, so it's great.
It's always nice to see the sun.
Yes, yeah. So what? Okay, Seema is asking B12. What strength? So the typical dose of supplementation. There are many choices. There are many options for B12. You can take a daily supplement, or you can take like a weekly. If you are going on a weekly supplement, this is for someone who doesn't have any deficiency. This is just like if you're on a plant-based diet, this is a routine supplementation we're talking about. We want to clarify, this is not for someone who's low in B12. If you're low in B12, you got to follow your doctor's prescription. But this is general supplementation that we're talking about for someone who's on a plant-based diet. So if it's a weekly, then it is 2,500 micrograms. If you just take once a week, 2,500 micrograms, that's good. If you're taking daily, 500 micrograms daily should do it. Mike wants more action. Yeah, keep them coming.
Yeah. Okay, I eat too much fiber, it makes my stomach blow out. Okay, so Pearl is asking, I eat too much fiber, it makes my stomach blow out.
Well,
Okay.
the thing is, uh, fiber. When you say you're eating too much fiber, what are you eating? The key is to know what is that. Sometimes we think it's the fiber that is causing um, that bloating sensation, but if we sit and ask, like, um, it may not be the fiber, it may be something else, but um, we actually have to look, like, when you say these things, like, I'm eating too much fiber and I'm having this bloating sensation, like, it would be helpful to see what you're eating for breakfast, what you're eating for lunch, what you're eating for supper, and to see where the symptoms are happening. But if you're someone who are eating like a standard Newfoundland diet or standard Canadian diet, and you started eating like more beans, more lentils, more oats, more fruits and vegetables, then you may be someone who have to go gradually, because it takes some time for your body to adjust, your gut bacteria to change. Because as you change or increase the fiber intake, it takes few days to weeks for your body to adjust to digest that fiber. Because to digest fiber, you have to make, like, we don't have a whole lot of enzymes of our own to digest fiber. It's actually our gut bacteria which digest the fiber. So if you're eating cheese, butter, and meats, you have a different set of bacteria. Whereas if you're eating whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, you have a different set of bacteria. So if you're on a plant-based diet, then you have more bacteria that will help you digest the fiber more efficiently. So it takes anywhere from 3 days to almost 3 months for your gut bacteria to start changing, to finally adjust so that you can digest the fiber. Um, the other thing is, you also have to chew the food really well. Like, sometimes you may be someone, like, if you're eating a fiber, but you don't chew your beans well, you don't chew your chickpeas or lentils or oats well, then that means the intestines have to work hard. Your like, stomach has to work hard. Your microbiome has to work hard to digest that. So chewing the food really well, taking lots of water helps in the digestion of fiber. Like, let's say, if you're just in the beginning of the transition of the food to plant-based eating, and you increase the fiber intake but you don't increase the water intake, we have seen people having bloating, and we have seen people having constipation from that itself. So you do these things, like chewing the food really well, increasing the water intake, and like, maybe you may be someone who have to give yourself some time, like at least a few weeks, for your gut bacteria to change. Like, slowly you go gradually on the fiber, and also stay away from the other foods that can cause bloating sensation, like dairy products. Cheese and meats can cause bloating in some people. So if you're eating those foods, then it's not very clear which foods are causing that the bloating sensation.
So Heather is asking, I eat bread, whole wheat, and cook with whole wheat flour or corn or chickpea flour, probably 1 to 2 servings a day. I also eat a bran cereal in order to jumpstart my fiber for the day. Do I need to remove all flour-based foods? So when it comes to fiber, Heather, so one thing to keep in mind is fiber is present in whole grains or intact grains, but like again, when you make them into flour, there's not much fiber. So even though you would like to think maybe flour based foods have fiber, they don't have much fiber. Definitely whole wheat is better than processed wheat, so definitely that has a little bit more fiber than the processed wheat, which lacks fiber. And when it comes to bran cereal, so basically what they are doing is they are taking the outer layer bran out of some other products and trying to add it. So it's not coming as it's available in nature. So when you're trying to eat those bran cereals, you're not having fiber in the natural form, but you're having them as an added fiber. Sometimes nutrients are stripped away from food and then they are added to the food. So that's not a good way of consuming fiber. If possible, if you can have intact grains. So for morning breakfast, if you can switch your breakfast from having bran cereal or bread to having oatmeal, so whether steel cut oats, or let's say if even steel cut oats is too much to start, you can go with the rolled oats first. And we are talking about old fashioned rolled oats instead of quick cooking oats. So rolled oats, it has better fiber, but steel cut oats has more fiber than the rolled oats. And if you go for oat groats, it has more fiber than the steel cut oats. So you want to pick an intact grain, especially when it comes to fiber. So for breakfast, if you can make that one switch, either going for steel cut oats and add lots of fruits, even that will give you a lot of fiber. So that is a good way of getting fiber.
Do you the other part of the question, Heather, you had is like, do you have to remove all flour-based foods? That we leave it to you, but one information that you should have before you make the decision is like, if you're someone who have diabetes or like pre-diabetes or any inflammatory conditions, it helps to remove the flour-based foods, because research is showing the more flour-based foods we eat, more inflammation in the body, more insulin resistance as well. So, but if you don't have any diabetes or pre-diabetes or not much inflammation, if you incorporate flour-based foods, you know, just a little bit, it's not a big deal. But what is important is the overall quality. Like, you know, is 90 to 100%. 90 to 100% of 90 to 95% of your food, if you keep it whole, that's beneficial. Like if you just have a slice here and there, that's not going to be a big deal. But it depends upon your individual. I mean, our recommendation is like, if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes or conditions where you're fighting inflammation, avoid flour-based foods. Otherwise, if you just want to incorporate a little bit, it's okay.
Yeah. So Mike is asking, since I stopped eating junk food and went to vegetables, I am still starved, hungry. Not good.
See, Mike,
Okay.
on a plant-based eating, you want to think of food in four food groups. These are main food groups. One is whole grains. The other one is the beans or the legumes. Then you have vegetables and fruits. So for you to feel full, it's very important that you eat the whole grains, which are steel cut oats or oat groats or brown rice. Or you eat beans like chickpeas or navy beans, or you know, having some baked beans, or like a chili or kidney beans or lentils. These two, and other group is actually starches like potatoes or sweet potatoes. So potatoes, sweet potatoes, and these whole grains, the beans, these things will keep you full. These have more calories per bite. But the vegetables, they have nutrients, but they don't nutrients the vegetables don't have enough calories, so you can't just survive on vegetables. It's very, very important, like when you start eating plant-based, that you eat either oats or brown rice or quinoa or barley or chickpeas or kidney beans, potatoes, sweet potatoes. One of these should be there in your meal for breakfast, lunch, or supper. You can't survive on vegetables. Only with vegetables, you're going to be hungry. Hope, yeah, that you make that correction.
Yeah. So
So,
Maureen is okay. She okay. I recommend the book Fiber Fuel. Yes, that's a wonderful book to read.
yeah, that
Yeah.
fiber fueled book by Dr. B. It's a very, very good book. We highly recommend that book to anyone and everyone who's interested to know more about irritable bowels, to know more about fiber. It's extremely beneficial.
Okay, so Seema is asking, steel cut oats actually worsen my IBS, so I avoid it. Is that normal?
It can happen in some people.
Yeah, so there are certain foods which might give you the symptoms of IBS. So like what we are asking here is to have the whole grain or intact grain. So let's say if steel cut oats is giving the problem, try other grains, because nature has provided us with so much variety. You can try millets or sorghum or teff or amaranth, or quinoa. So there are a lot of other grains out there. Try that and see which one is working with your body. So there might be some grain which may not give you that IBS symptoms. So if you can find out the grain that works for you can have that grain actually.
So I would suggest start with either brown rice or amaranth. We have seen some of our students finding it better with amaranth. It's very soothing. Teff also works well. Quinoa is very rich in protein and nutrients. Quinoa is also, it works well. So just try different grains and see what works for you.
Yeah. So Chitra is also asking the same, like steel cut oats make me bloat.
Yeah, same response for you, Chitra, as well. Like try oat groats, quinoa, barley, buckwheat, brown rice, amaranth. Don't get hung up on one or two foods.
Yes.
Don't get hung up on one or two foods. If one or two foods are making you, even 10 foods, if there are 10 foods that you can't eat, Mother Nature has provided another 9,990 different foods. I'm just taking 10,000 as a number, but Mother Nature has given us like millions of foods.
Yeah.
Millions of, like, there are so many types of grains, so many types of beans. Don't get hung up on what you can't eat. Rather, keep looking for what is that you can eat. Yeah. Amaranth, teff, and quinoa.
Yes.
Is brown rice noodles just as good as regular brown rice?
So when it comes to a choice, so like we call it as the hierarchy of food. So whenever the food is available, it's always better to go for as we find it in nature. So brown rice, you find that in nature. So if you could have it in the natural form, that's the best thing. And then when you turn the brown rice into noodles, so that is next best thing to the processed rice noodles or the white rice noodles. So when we ask whether certain food is good, we say compared to what? So always the food that is available in nature is the best. If you can go for that, that is always the best.
Yeah, but if you want to use brown rice noodles every now and then, it's okay. But make sure you're eating it with lots of vegetables. Like when you make pastas with it, when you make noodles with it, plenty of vegetables to go with the brown rice noodles. But as good as regular brown rice, no, regular brown rice is better than brown rice noodles. So here, Heather was saying, I was afraid you say that I love pastas and bread, but I also feel very satisfied after a whole foods plant-based meals, unlike more processed meals. So Heather, it's okay to enjoy some pastas, but the thing is, when you're making pasta, use the whole wheat or whole grain pasta. But here is the most important principle. Like when you're eating a pasta, at least 50 to 60% of your plate should be vegetables. So your pastas should have more vegetables, or at least half the plate as vegetables than the pasta itself. So when you make the next pasta with colorful vegetables, share it in the share it in the Gift of Health Total Wellness group.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maureen is saying, I love oat groats and eat them instead of rice sometimes. Yes, oat groats is one of our favorite staples in our house, and I love oat groats too. Maybe sometimes I feel I can just live on oat groats. So that's definitely a yummy thing to have.
In our family, we can say that we are pretty much addicted to oats. Like,
Yeah.
we have one container of oat groats. We have one container, like big container. We have steel cut oats. We have traditional rolled oats. We make all kinds of things. Like we're cooking oat groats sometimes. We're cooking steel cut oats sometimes. We're having overnight oats sometimes. It's so versatile. You can make so many things.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mother Nature has so many gifts. It's don't get hung up on what you can't eat. Keep looking for what is it you can eat.
Yeah.
Good, excellent. Lots of good questions, huh, today.
Mhm.
Do you share recipes? Yes, Seema, we share lots of recipes. Like all you have to do is to go on giftofhealth.org. Just go to giftofhealth.org and you'll see more than 250 recipes that are like plant-based and very easy to make. Like most of these recipes that we took the usual recipes and we plantified them.
Yes. And also, like, if you subscribe to a Gift of Health, every week we actually send a recipe or some interesting article or interesting fact about eating healthy. So even that's a good place to get weekly recipes and ideas. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Pearl. Like, Pearl, what are your top 3 or 4 favorite recipes if you love sharing? Ali is saying cheese sauce is fabulous, excellent, good.
Yeah. So Seema is saying, I just found you guys last week. Just subscribed. Great.
Excellent,
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
So Seema, where are you located, Seema? Yeah, if you have tried the Gift of Health recipes, like we would like to hear from you. What are your top 2 or 3 recipes that you have tried and you'd recommend to the people who are starting out? CA, is that California? California,
Yes.
okay.
Mhm.
Good, excellent. Yeah, we have many favorite recipes, but our motto is to keep it simple. We try to keep it so simple, like and we try to make the things um, as simple as possible. Like a breakfast bowl can be just steel cut oats with uh, fruits and some chia seeds and soy milk. A lunch is a bowl of rice with lentils and vegetables. Like tonight, we had rice, we had lentils and vegetables, and we had a side like a beans coconut stir fry, some chopped vegetables like peppers and cucumbers. So it was and there was a dessert of made with rice and date paste, like
Rice pudding.
yeah, rice pudding.
So instead of using sugar, dairy, we make rice pudding using soy milk and using dates. So we blend the dates and use that instead of sugar. Yeah. So
do you guys want us to make some recipes for you in this live cooking show, in these lives? Let us know if you want us to do some cooking live.
yeah. So Vanessa is saying her favorite is hearty vegetable stew. Yes. Seema is saying, I do intermittent fasting. What's your advice on black coffee in the fasting window?
Well, the thing is, the most important thing is to get the food plant-based. Like research shows that if you're eating plant-based and you are staying away from the processed foods, then the added benefits of intermittent fasting are less if you're taking optimal amount of calories eating plant based. But if your diet is like if your baseline diet is not plant based, and if you're overeating, if you're taking too much calories, then in adding intermittent fasting is helpful. um, for the best thing that we recommend when it comes to intermittent fasting is just go with the 2 or 3 meals. Even if you do 3 meals, uh, doing a breakfast at 8, we're just giving a sample, like example of like lunch, maybe around 1 o'clock, and supper at 6. That's it. No snacking in between. Then you get a fasting window like from 6 in the evening to 8 in the morning. That's 14 hours, right? So, or if you want to do 2 meals a day, then you could eat around like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, and then 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. Then you get a bit longer fasting window. So see what works for you. But initially, just start with 3 meals and no snacks. That's good. But once you have used to once you're used to uh, going with 3 meals with no snacking, then it's then you could try to go with 2 meals.
So Heather is saying, I often cook apples for dessert and add raisins and dried cranberries for sweetness. This gives us several servings of fruit in a sweet treat. Wonderful
Excellent. Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pearl is saying that she likes the overnight oats, brownies, and chickpea dip.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
And all the recipes with beans.
Yeah, yeah, you like the recipes with beans.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. So you guys want us to cook, huh? Cooking would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do some cooking lives. Like we could cook and answer your questions at the same time.
So if you do not have any more questions, so I think we will wrap up.
Mike is asking, you both are awesome doctors. You can answer any question. So why aren't you writing a book, your own book, so we can buy? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
Mike,
it.
it's we will
It's
we
in the
will
pipeline.
yeah, it's in the pipeline, and it will happen one day. You will have it in your hands. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so have a wonderful evening and like enjoy a stroll or walk outside if there is still light outside. So enjoy your summers and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, everyone.